Today we're talking about a classic work of art that has gone through not one, not two, but as it is right now, 3 Mandela effects. This piece of art is called The Thinker. In this video, we're going to examine each Mandela effect change and dive into the troubling question of how does this keep happening? So like this video, subscribe to this channel as well as All Time 2, link in the description, and let's get right into it. The Thinker is a bronze sculpture of a naked man seemingly deep in thought. This iconic piece of art was finished in 1904 by Auguste Rodin, or in English, Auguste Rodin. To quickly refresh all of your memories, here is a bite-sized history lesson about the Thinker. I'm not sure if this background information will help solve any part of the mystery, but it couldn't hurt, right? The Thinker was originally named the Poet. This poet was the centerpiece of 2 terrifying bronze doors titled the Gates of Hell. This commission dated back to 1880, and the subject of this piece was Dante's Inferno from the Divine Comedy. So obviously the Thinker is deep in thought. Eventually separated from the Gates of Hell, the Thinker was, as I mentioned earlier, finished in 1904, put on display in 1906, and eventually moved to the gardens of the Rodin Museum in 1922, 5 years after his death. The interesting thing about the Thinker sculpture is that Rodin wanted his art spread far and wide. Remember, this is a time long before cell phones, the internet, computers, television, or even the widespread adoption of the radio. I don't find it fascinating that he wanted to share his art. That seems very common of artists, but what I do find fascinating is that he succeeded. He shared his sculpture all over the world, and to his credit, it's the reason we all know about it today. In another universe, the Thinker would have been some no-name piece hidden away in a museum in France. But instead, we all know what the Thinker is, and that's why this video exists. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this Mandela effect mystery. This world-famous and instantly memorable sculpture is already famous in the Mandela effect community for having 2 previous Mandela effects, both regarding the Thinker's hand. For the first Mandela effect, many people believe that his hand originally rested directly against his forehead. But now, that isn't the case. It instead rests against his chin. Others claim it has always been this way, so which side do you fall on? Is it the forehead or the chin? The second Mandela effect is about the Thinker's fingers. Weird and specific, I know, but follow me here. The argument is that his hand, whether you believed it was against his forehead or his chin, was that it was a tightly clenched fist. Visualize that image in your head. The way it is now, the Thinker's hand is in a relaxed, open palm position with fingers spread. It's almost like he got tired of clenching his fist so tightly. Does this trip anybody else up? For me personally, I remember a closed fist resting against his forehead. So along comes a brand new Mandela effect after all these years of examination and discussion. It's amazing that no one in all of my research has come across this until it blew up recently. It's as if it just randomly appeared one day. Think back to what the bronze man is wearing. Does he have any clothes or accessories on at all? Most of you are probably recalling nothing, correct? Well, here is my question for you today. Is the Thinker wearing a hat? Yes or no? You'll be happy to know that the Thinker is still naked, as long as you don't include the hat that he now wears on his head. Yes, the Thinker now wears a hat on his head. Does that look right to you? As strange as that sounds, it's correct. The Thinker now has a hat on his head. If you're like me, the first initial thing you'd say is, oh, that's not a hat, that's his hair. If you look at the statue from this perspective, you can see very obviously the bronze man is wearing a hat with a corner flipped up. His hair is in full display beneath it. You simply can't deny that this is a hat on top of his head. The first 2 Mandela effects regarding the Thinker bothered me, but this third one has me literally scratching my head. From the comments I've read online, I'm not alone. So we are now left with the question, how does this keep happening? And that isn't an easy question to answer. How can changes like this appear on objects that have been heavily discussed and carefully examined? I'm positive that the first time you heard the Thinker had a Mandela effect, you took a good long look at him. Did you notice the hat then? Most of you will probably say no, and I'm right there with you. Upon doing research for this video, I've discovered there were 28 bronze casts of the Thinker made and placed all over the world. This could lead one to think perhaps there are different molds. But in fact, all 28 casts are identical in depiction. The only difference is size. So I kept on digging for residue. A show that ran from 1959 to 1963 called The Many Loves of Dobie Gillis had a rendition of the Thinker sculpture that shows exactly what it seems to be to this day. Adding to that, the main character of the show then proceeds to do the exact same pose. So far it seems like we're all in the wrong, but there's more. In another screenshot I found of this show, and I'm sorry for the terrible quality of this image, the main character is posing in front of the Thinker, but is now doing a fist instead of an open palm. There are many others though. For example, there is an episode of Hey Arnold that depicts a seemingly incorrect cartoon rendition of the Thinker. Maybe they simply didn't look up anything for reference. Another piece of residue is this very weird and very off 1989 IBM commercial. The pose of the Thinker in this is completely unlike anything I've found yet. Let's take a look at this. Is this another failed attempt at replicating the pose of the Thinker? Or is this a previous rendition of the Mandela effect? Perhaps this pose was once the correct form as well. That thought alone, if given with an open mind, is creepy enough. Sure enough, if you look in the YouTube comments, I found what I was looking for. Absolutely terrifying. Then you have the very strange case of the George Bernard Shaw photograph taken in 1906. Where he does the pose of the Thinker and sends a print of it to Rodin, who is still alive at the time. What did Rodin think when he received this strange naked art piece? Was it, why is this man sending me naked photographs? Or was it, this man isn't doing my pose correctly? We simply don't know. To make matters even more confusing, in 1910, 4 years later, George Bernard Shaw did the pose again, but this time completely different. This version is much closer to the current way the Thinker looks, but is still off. Did he not look at the original photograph that he took 4 years earlier? Or any of the molds of the Thinker for reference? This is truly a Mandela effect mystery. There is a ton of residue still out there, and I could go on, but I'll just show you a few more. Like this one. You can purchase a mini sculpture of the Thinker with his hand in a fist on his chin, instead of it being an open palm like it seemingly is now. Even the description for the sculpture talks about his hand being in a fist. That's very confusing. You'd think if you were re-sculpting the Thinker, you'd look at the Thinker for reference, right? So why would you sculpt the hand differently? I don't know, I find that very strange. But this right here is the most disturbing part of all three of these Mandela effects. Modern day photographs of people posing in front of the Thinker, doing the Thinker pose incorrectly. It's literally in the frame with you. Just look over your shoulder. And it's not just one photo. It's over and over and over. This kind of stuff is what makes the Mandela effect creepy. It's the kind of stuff that makes it all-time scary. Either everyone is dumb, no one can follow directions, or something weird is going on. The Thinker now joins other Mandela effects like the Wizard of Oz, who are ripe with countless changes. I don't understand it. I wish I did, but it seems like every time that these things are re-examined, new Mandela effects are discovered. So study these photographs deeply, because it's only a matter of time before he's wearing something else. So lastly, tell me, are all of these changes the result of the Mandela effect? Or are you more skeptical and you believe that this is nothing more than faulty memories? Do you remember all of these things, or are all of these things totally different? As always, tell me your thoughts and concerns in the comments below.